it's Christian, we're talking about it. This is the Mike Charleston Show.
All right, well, welcome to another episode of the Mike Charleston Show. I am Mike Charleston, and I am with my wife today, Sarah.
I'm here.
Yeah, we're here, and Chuck is not with us. So he's right there in that chair. He's not there. Okay, so yeah, we decided we were going to go out of town this week for a day, basically, and go visit our daughter in Tennessee and son-in-law, Levi.
And grandchildren.
And grandchildren,
Okay.
yes. We went to go buy a vehicle, and so we made a weekend of it, and so we're recording a little later, and Chuck is, well, not convenient for him to meet today. So it's just going to be us today. And in fact, today's going to be a little bit different anyways. Yeah. So we're just going to kind of have a conversation. And as you can tell by the title, what we're going to be talking about. But we just wanted to talk about this topic a little bit, give our little thoughts about it. I know on our show, we don't really get into politics all that much. We try to stay out of that world as much as possible. I know sometimes you can't help it. Religion and politics merge at times.
They do.
And so we have to delve into it a little bit. But I honestly don't want to, I'm not very political minded. I'm aware of what's out there, and but I don't want to get involved in a lot of politics. But a couple weeks ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and it made the news, obviously. And it's funny because you didn't really know much about him, right?
Just some. I hadn't listened to much of him, but I'd heard a little bit and heard more through our kids.
You've heard of him.
Yeah.
Right. And Jeremiah, my son, introduced me to him, not introduced me physically, but showed me him years ago. This was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And to be honest, I was not a huge fan when I first started kind of watching some of his videos. I thought he was very arrogant, and just the way he would interact with the people. It just kind of turned me off a little bit, but what he said was fine, but it was just kind of that interaction was very aggressive in tone. And here's where some of the problem is that when you're on YouTube and you see clips, there's no time frame. And so Charlie Kirk has been doing this for a while. But he's also matured as time has gone on, and when you watch some of these things, it's hard to tell. Was this early Charlie? Is it later Charlie? Mm-hmm. And so as I have watched him more and more closer to now, I've learned to like him somewhat. He's what he has to say, I generally agree with. I don't agree with everything he has to say or had to say. And but I'd catch him and Cliff and some of these people that go onto college campuses and kind of debate some of these important issues. Now Charlie is a lot more politically minded, and but he's not ashamed. He was not ashamed to promote Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And that was something that was new. Usually you hear these political people and they just want to push a right-wing agenda or a left-wing agenda and so on and so forth. And that's fine. That's what politics are, right? But he was always, wanting to be remembered as a Christian first. And he was not ashamed of telling his testimony, which I thought was kind of shocking, to be honest, when I'm watching some of these videos. And I'm like, wow, all these he definitely had something going on with young people. Mm-hmm. There was a movement. So some older people listening to this may not, what was the big deal with Charlie Kirk? And it's really hard to put it in terms of something that we could really understand. Because of YouTube and because of this grassroots efforts of Turning Point, how he started as a young man and just growing it through all these high schools and colleges throughout the country. And then obviously he was growing in the political movements of the Republican Party. I'm assuming, he was growing in that. But it's hard to compare it to anything else. We had the JFK assassination, which was big news in the 60s. I wasn't alive for that. But there was, in the 50s and 60s, there was a lot of assassinations, political assassinations with RFK, JFK, and Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr. There was just a lot of unrest at that time. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of maybe we're moving into that period of time again, unfortunately. But it's just the Christian aspect of what he stood for was kind of amazing. That was the interesting part of, you get on college campuses and you've been there, Texas A&M and LSU, all these different places. Good luck getting a crowd, right?
Yeah. I mean, and they ask when you go to college campuses, which, I've done several times, and it's hard. They ask hard questions.
Yeah, they do.
And it can be intimidating to just be out there, and especially somebody like Charlie Kirk, who you go and it's like you set up a table or a booth or whatever, and you're like,
challenge me.
I want you to ask me questions, and I'm like, wow, like you're not just going like, here, I've got what I'm going to ask you and catch you off guard, and like, here I come. But it's like he was willing to just sit and answer anything.
And a lot of people on the left, they more liberal leanings, they were upset at this because, well, here he is, he's 30 years old and attacking college students, and I'm like, this is a university. And, he comes prepared and they're not. Well, that's part of learning on a college campus. Yeah. So you don't say that about teachers. Teachers have an agenda and they go in there and ask them questions and they're prepared. They actually have prepared, lectures.
Right.
And they know what they're going to say and what they're going to do. They already have it all prepared. At least Charlie here, you're giving them a fair, give and take. Hey, what do you want? Ask me a question, try to prove me wrong. Now, maybe he wasn't sincere. Like, do you think he was really going to change his mind on a lot of these issues? Maybe not, but he was there to challenge people's thinking. And I got my Think About It shirt on. And, to challenge their thinking. And that's exactly what kind of made America great, in days gone by, where we could actually live together, disagree, we could have debate, open discussion. If you don't like the word debate, just how about open discussion,
right.
on issues. We could disagree on these issues, but we didn't go around butchering each other.
Yeah.
And it seemed like everything kind of changed on that day when Charlie Kirk was killed, because it just felt like, wow. And I wasn't his biggest fan. I enjoyed some of the things he said, but man, it really hurt. Like, it was like, wow, because of just the state that we are in America. Now, I'm not giving a tribute necessary to Charlie Kirk, because I don't know all of his teachings. I mean, I watched what he said about DEI, what he said about, him being a racist, and which is far from the truth, his Christian stance and all those things. I've watched many, 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 many videos. I'm not going to apologize or be on apologetics for Charlie Kirk and give him tributes. There's plenty of those going around, that people who know him a lot better. What I want to talk about is the aftermath of what happened, and that was really, really heartbreaking. And it's like I said, I'm not very politically minded, but when something like this happens, well, I'm going to kind of read up the news and see what's going on and what people say. And went on social media, which is the devil, and it's brutal out there.
Much.
And we live in a different age, and I don't care what side of the aisle you lean towards, or I don't care if you're a centrist, I don't care if you're right wing, left wing, I don't care. This is America. We respect people's beliefs. But when they start becoming violent, that becomes an issue. When you start celebrating that's really disconcerting. And that's really what bugged me, was the celebration of this death. And, they would say, oh, he was a fascist and we should celebrate death of fascists. It's still a death, and it's still your opinion that he was a fascist. You're the one that silenced him. Think about that. That's what fascist governments, they want to silence people. They don't want free interchange. They want to silence people's voices. That's what fascists are. And it seems like the left is definitely leaning that way these days, where it's like, accept everything but you guys, and we want to silence you guys, your side. And so it's unfortunate that it's becoming like that, but it shouldn't be shocking to us believers, because we shall suffer persecution in this world, right?
Yeah. Yep.
We're not promised anything else but persecution.
Yeah.
So when I started watching some of these videos and some of these people actually celebrating, it really disgusted me, and it just was really, my heart was heavy, and just like, wow, is this where we've come in America?
Right. Well, I mean, I feel like it's somebody else said it, and I was like, wow, like it just really does feel like the great divide between light and dark has just become greater. It's like, I don't know, like I grew up going to Christian school, and I would always talk about how I felt like it was a little bit harder to be a Christian at a Christian school, because there wasn't so much, everybody was a Christian. You had to say you were a Christian in order to enroll in the school. Right. So everybody's a Christian, even though it was not full of Christians. But one year in fourth grade, I went to public school, and
you
I
can
was
remember
like,
that far back.
yeah. And I was like, wow, it just was a very different feel, because it's like you can definitely tell Christian from not Christian. And so it's like, and when all this started happening, and, of course, I don't keep up with the news really at all, ever.
Right.
But this, was huge. And so I started watching things and reading things and just hearing from people. And it seemed like, wow, this is definitely, you see the dark getting way darker and the light shine. It's just like, wow, the difference there became very obvious.
Yeah, because it's political, and I guess it depends on where your God is. Your God is in government, or is in God is in God. Yeah. And once again, I'm not trying to say the left doesn't believe in God or anything like that, but it does tend to, the answers are all government, and we're going to pass laws to moralize the world,
Right.
But it does seem like it's shocking that when you, and I know it's a totally different world because of social media, and we can just within 5 seconds, put on our thoughts to the whole world and then get fired for it, later on.
Right.
But it's like when JFK got assassinated. I mean, he's a Democrat. I know he was kind of more of a centrist, but no one celebrated the death of. I mean, you might have had some psychos out there that were kind of weird like that. Yeah. But, it was a mourning time. Like, this is crazy. A president just got assassinated. When Reagan was attempted to be killed, they shot him. It was, once again, there was no celebrations. There was no rejoicing in the streets. And but so maybe social media has really sparked this, where we could just say whatever we feel like, because we can hide behind a handle and a picture on Facebook or Twitter or whatever TikTok videos you do, and it's really not personal. But this is the world we live in, where it's revealing our hearts, and our hearts are evil. And I don't know if you have that verse handy, the one in 2 Timothy.
I do. So 2 Timothy 3, this is verse 1 through 5, says, "This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away."
So that's a hefty list right there.
Yeah.
And you look around, and the love of many has grown cold. There's another verse that talks about the love of many has grown cold. And this is like in the end times, this is going to happen. And you look around at our society, and we're like, well, we're all about love. We're not going around killing people and all this stuff. And we're love. Everybody talks about love. But at the heart, where are we? Is it really that we hate, and we just really despise people, and we can't stand? And this is going on both sides. I'm not trying to say it's only the left that hates. I mean, you talk to some people on the right, when they get together, and it's like they don't really speak so glowingly of the left. And I get it. We disagree.
Yeah.
But it's like where it turns to hate. And we want to go out and punch someone, or we want to hit someone, and God forbid we want to murder someone. And all for what? For power. You remember what this world is all about. Our battle is not flesh and blood. It is against principalities and powers and darkness of the air. But who runs this world is the people in power here, and that's what we're really vying for. We want control, and so that's why it's so important, because every presidential election, what do we hear? That democracy's at stake here, that whoever wins, and democracy's at stake. So, I don't know, we've been saying that for the last, 25 years, something like that,
years.
30 years. So democracy at this point should be over, but yet it keeps going on. But it's all rhetoric. It's all just, talking points that people say to get people motivated, because what motivates people is anger. Is disappointment, is frustration, and that you just look on social media. And not a lot of people saying good things on there.
Right.
It's just attack after attack after attack. And I don't like your opinion. I'm going to have to tell you everything I think.
Yeah.
And so we become lovers of ourselves rather than lovers of God. And that's really what social media has become. So this isn't about social media, but it's really become a whole.
Yeah.
And it's really sad.
And I mean, I know it's not about social media, but I mean, this goes for Christians too. I just feel like it is such a whole. And for any of us, I mean, even if what I have to say I think is right and good, I don't know. I think we really need to pause and think before we get on there, and definitely before we post something, because it's just so easy to just have a thought, have a, something that's just really upsetting you or really exciting you or whatever, and we just go and so freely post to the world, and it's like that's there forever. So
yeah, well, the guy we just interviewed, Philip Telfer, he actually has a think acronym when posting, and I don't remember what it means. Is it thankful, or over here thankful? Is it helpful? Is honest? Is it? I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good acronym.
You should go to the link. Go to Media Talk 101 or Screen Time 101, whatever those, Media Talk 101, and he has his article about think before you type, and before you answer or respond or something like that. It's actually well thought out, and it's very important because we don't think. We want to just say whatever vassal thought comes to our mind. And that always gets us in trouble.
Pretty much.
It's like I might think something and be like, give me a second to consider what I'm thinking about. Kind of like what we were talking about at the camp in Philippians 4:8.
Yeah.
Whatsoever things are true, whatsoever. Let me take a few seconds before I could take captive those thoughts.
Right.
And then be like, you know what? These are not helpful or beneficial thoughts. This is actually hateful. Mm-hmm. I'm going to reject those. I'm not going to speak about them. But we don't have that filter anymore. We just start speaking and just saying talking points that other people have said. And it just brings more hate and more division, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I really appreciate about Charlie Kirk was his boldness. Mm-hmm. He's very bold. Yeah. I mean, to go to college campuses and to do what he was doing is extremely bold. I wish more Christians were a little bit more bold. I don't know about being more political, but he managed to mix both of them. He could talk politics and talk Jesus. Yep. And you go out in college campuses and talk to Jesus about Jesus, you ain't getting a crowd. Very few people. Yeah. So somehow he was able to get a crowd, and he's able to speak life and speak Jesus. And that's very rare these days. So I really appreciated that aspect of it.
Yeah, well, and I think another thing about him that I really admire is that he did what most Christians are supposed to do, and that's to be ready with an answer.
Right.
And so many of us are just like, well, we just don't know. We're too lazy. We don't care. We're like, hey, I'm in. I got my ticket. So, like, what's the point of being ready with an answer? That's for people like Charlie Kirk who are going to go and, set up a booth to answer questions. And but we're all called to do that. We all should be in a place where we can have answers for people that have questions. So, I
mean, that is kind of the thing, right? And we have different mentalities. We want to go out there and just shout and yell and like repent sinner, or we, if there's a guy named Cliff, I have no idea how to pronounce his last name, Nicole or whatever his name is. He actually engages in a lively debate and conversation with a lot of students around the world. I don't know where he goes always, but he is very engaging and very interesting discussions with these young people. And it's not shouting, it's not, making fun of them. And so there is a way to create a crowd where people can hear you. If you're just standing on the corner on the soapbox just preaching away at the air, what good is that? These people have found a way to some kind of way to get into people are listening to them. And you have a whole generation of young people that were getting behind this message, which is shocking, because it's a message about Christ and conservative values and things like that. But definitely about Christ, and he's not ashamed of it at all. And I wonder how many people have come to Christ because of that.
Right.
So it's, once again, this isn't a tribute, and this isn't like patting him on the back, but I really admired that about him. But once again, it was just the aftermath, and in a society that is supposed to be open and open-minded, where are we headed? Because this was just really sad that now, fortunately, not much has happened since, this is, but we've had some skirmishes. Protesters with these people protesting Charlie Kirk at a vigil, which is just ridiculous. Like, go away. Like, leave him. He's dead. People want to mourn that, and you are gonna, say how bad of a it's just really sad. Yeah. I would hope that whoever on the left, people that maybe they despise because of some of their views, if they were assassinated, I would hope that we would not be mocking them, or that shows you our dark hearts of where people are today. It reminds me of, like, so you go in the story of Revelation, because I'm like I'm trying to figure out life sometimes, and in Revelation there's a story about the two witnesses, right? And the two witnesses are going to be doing all kinds of signs and wonders, and they are making problems in the world. I forget exactly how it says it, but it was really like troublesome. I don't know if you can pull it up. But now I sound like another podcaster. If you can pull that up, but it says, I forget how it says it. But anyway, they're doing all kinds of signs and wonders, and they were a problem to society. They were a menace to society, and they eventually get killed in the streets, and their bodies are left to lay in the streets, and for 3 days. And the people celebrate that. And to the point where they exchange gifts, they have Christmas. When these two are dead, they celebrate the fact. And I was like, that is so bizarre. Before Charlie Kirk's assassination, I'm trying to think how this would happen. Like that's so bizarre that people would just make a holiday after these two people were just murdered in the streets. Did you find the verse?
Yeah. Well, so Revelation 11 talks about them. And verse 5 says, and if any man will hurt them, fire proceedeth out of their mouth and devoureth their enemies. And if any man will hurt them, he must in this manner be killed. These have power to shut heaven, that it rain not in the days of their prophecy, and have power over waters to turn them to blood, and to smite the earth with all plagues as often as they will. And so obviously that's causing a lot of trouble for everybody.
Yes.
So yeah.
It doesn't go on and say anything else about how maybe I'm just thinking about that's causing a lot of problems, but I thought it said a specific phrase in there. But anyways, but then it goes on to say that they will be killed.
Right.
But where's that part?
And then verse 7 says,
that's what I mean when you're like, does it go on?
And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them.
Right.
And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Lord was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds.
I wonder what that is, by the way.
Yeah.
Sodom and Egypt, but where our Lord was crucified.
And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and in half, and shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwelt on the earth.
That's where it is. They tormented them on the earth. So they give gifts and they celebrate, and they and all these tribes and tongues witnesses, and we're like, well, how does this happen? Well, now we know everyone's got a smartphone. Okay, well that covers that.
Yeah.
But them celebrating, and I'm like, well, that seems odd, that kind of celebration and giving gifts and all that stuff. Well, I can see it now, where we just become so cold, so hard, that when men of God are doing something and it becomes in the way of what you want, and so when they're out of the way, you celebrate. Mm-hmm. And obviously, a lot of the listeners that I'm listening to are not going to be on that side. Most of them are believers, and so they're not even going to be here, during that time, hopefully. But but when they are murdered and left to lay for 3.5 days, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean, you thought Charlie Kirk was bad. Imagine him being left to lay there for 3.5 days while people are gloating over him.
Right.
I mean, that would be really bad.
Yeah.
But so it reminds me of that in Revelation, where that's how the love of many has really gone cold, where these people, these men of God, are doing things, and they are laid to waste for 3.5 days, and people are rejoicing over them and giving gifts one to another. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, I can now. I'm like, okay. Now it kind of makes sense, Now I'm like, okay, because people are so divided, so they've already made up their mind, regardless of what they've heard. Because most people haven't even heard him.
Yeah.
They've heard a snippet or whatever. Or someone says they are, this guy's a racist or he's homophobic or whatever, and they just repeat these things, and they actually never sit down and listen to what they said. I was watching one video on DEI, and it was a black guy that was talking to him, and the one thing I liked about what Charlie was doing there, he's like, okay, we're going to disagree on some of these things, but let's talk about what we agree on. And he's like, do you think that we should be judged on our merit or on skin color? And the guy was like, oh, well, on our merit, not on skin color, because we saw how that went years ago, and didn't go very well for them. And so it was like, he said that's exactly what our position is, and he explains why the damage of DEI is strictly on skin color and not on the merit of your work and what you are as a person. And and he did it in a very respectful way, and it moved on. But people are like, see, he's a racist, he hates DEI, he hates all these things, and it's like, you don't even sit down and really listen. That's a you problem, and you make a judgment and you celebrate something you don't even know, that's definitely a you problem.
Yeah.
You should really examine your heart at that point. We should not celebrate the death of anybody.
Right.
There was lawmakers up in Minnesota that got murdered, and a husband and wife, I think. I don't remember. These two lawmakers. The problem with this one was no one knew who they were before, and they got murdered. It was very personal, it seemed, but it was in their home. It wasn't in front of 3,000 people with cameras rolling and all that. And a very controversial figure like Charlie Kirk. No one even heard of these people. And that was sad. That was I remember reading that and going, wow, I hope this is not a trend, because politics are getting very heated these days and very, very, threatening, I guess I should say, and be very careful. And I know the temptation, especially on the Christian conservatives and all that, the temptation is to fight back in kind, but that is not our battle. Yeah. This is not our battle. Our battle is to win souls for the Lord, not to win them to a certain agenda, even though that might be nice and a thing to do. It might be a part of life that's nice. Yeah. But our purpose and reason is that I'm not a citizen of this earth. I am a citizen in heaven, and I want to win as many souls. I want to encourage people to seek God as much as possible. I want them to have a better relationship with Christ. That is my goal and my desire, and that's kind of why we do the show, is to point to people to Christ. And hopefully in a fun and engaging way,
That's the goal.
That is the subtitle, right?
I think so. So I think, speaking of how we respond, I think about, as Christians, what is the proper response to something like this happening for people that knew him, for people that didn't know him, and I just think that, for me, it's okay, I didn't know him all that well. Right. I hadn't watched or listened to a whole lot, but I don't know, I guess I sort of took it a little bit personally, just thinking that when we were newly married, I remember there would be times where phones were new, and so I couldn't always get in touch with you, or it's true. A different world. And I just remember, different times thinking, what if something happened to you? And here I am with however many kids at the time, and it would just be devastating to lose you. And I remember those feelings, and I thought, wow, that's what his wife. That's her reality,
yeah, sure.
And so it's I just think we have to put ourselves in other people's shoes. And not only that, but it's he did have an ear with young people. And, I think that's amazing. And God was using him. I mean, people would talk about, just answers that he gave and how that was helping them in their walk. And so, I don't know. And one thing that I did hear him say was that, he would do things not because they were good or Christian or whatever, but it's because he felt like that's where God was leading him. Right. And so sometimes we just go through life and do whatever. And so I was like, wow, because sometimes even as a Christian, it's oh, well, if it's good, then that means I should do it. But just because something is good doesn't always mean it's the right thing for you to do. And I thought, wow, is that what God's asking you to do? And I thought, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that I can do in this world. Yeah. But I've got to figure out where's my place. Right. I'm not very good at street evangelism. Doesn't mean I don't do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't just whatever, but I have to find, okay, is that good for me? Is that the best use of my talents and all that? But try everything, and try to do things. That's for sure. You go to the nursing home, that's definitely not, I tried that a few times and it did not go well for me. It was, I still have to grow in that. But yeah, it is true. We need to find our place. And I think what really came out of this was people are becoming a little bit more bold again. Yeah. And being okay, there is a divide. We're not just these cultural Christians anymore. And this isn't a Christian country anymore. Yeah. If we want it to be a Christian country, we have to go and make it a Christian country. Now, I don't think, I don't believe in the kingdom now theology, and we're going to make this world Christian, but I can make my world Christian. I can try as much as I can to the people around me and in the city. I mean, why not try at least? Yeah. I know the prophecies and what it looks like at the end. It looks like it's all bad. It's people are giving up faith. They're departing from the faith. They are becoming not retro. What am I thinking? It starts with an R. But they are reprobate. Yes, not retro. That's terrible. But they're reprobate. They're denying. They're walking away. They're lovers lovers of selves rather than lovers of pleasure. They're lovers of pleasure rather than the lovers of God.
Right.
Lovers of self, and that is kind of where we are today. And I just don't see it getting much better. But kind of like the starfish story, if you've never heard the starfish story, where someone's walking on the beach and this little kid is throwing back a starfish. And the other guy walks up to him and said, "There are 1,000 starfish. There's no way you can throw them all back. Why are you can't make a difference?" And he says, "Well, I'm making a difference to this one."
Yep.
And if we all do our part, we can make a difference to those around us. We can't change their minds for them, but we can sure, like, hey, this is what Christ is. I can live Christ's example on this earth and preach truth. And I'm not going to back away from truth just because of people who disagree with me are threatening. And no, I'm going to keep pursuing truth.
Yeah.
So anyways, I hope people don't, in the aftermath, they don't get angry and motivated in the wrong way and want to fight back or want to get more politically like, oh, if we change, we take back the power. Well, we already have, the Republicans have power, and it's not doing anything. So, whatever. Some things are, but that's not the answer.
Right.
The answer isn't in politics or whether we, have a democracy that's alive and running well. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Whether we're living in a socialistic society. The answer isn't in all those things. The answer is in Jesus.
It is.
That is the answer. And one day he's going to come back and he's going to rule with a rod of iron. And so anyway.
Well, I did see somebody say, what we need is love, and love is the answer to everything. And I thought, I do think we need to love, but the problem is love only comes from one place,
right.
Real, true love. And for me, able to love somebody who thinks very differently than I do, that has very different values. How can I love them? It's like you just want to tell me just love. Well, I don't feel any love for that person. But when you have Christ, then that love flows through you to people that it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, love doesn't mean that you just accept everything they do and let them walk all over you and you have to believe whatever they do. Love is speaking the truth. Now, you can do it in an arrogant and a vicious way, or you can do it in a loving way, but you still need to tell truth. And truth is going to step on their toes. Yeah. The truth hurts sometimes, and it makes them think. And I think that's where Charlie Kirk was going on a lot of these places, was stepping on a lot of toes. And whenever you witness, you're stepping on toes. When you're telling people that the way they're living is not godly, and they have to think about that. Most people aren't going to like that. Like, how dare you judge me? And I'm like, I'm not judging you. You're condemned already. That's what John 3 says. You're because you love your darkness rather than light. You're condemned already. Yeah. But the good news is that Jesus came to save you from that.
Absolutely.
But people always want to go, oh, you don't think my lifestyle. You don't like me. You don't think has nothing to do with you. Whatever. Personally, I don't mind you. Whatever. You can live how you want to live. But God loves you, and He wants me to tell you that. And there's a certain way to get to heaven. Yeah. So anyway, hopefully you can be encouraged by some of this stuff. I mean, it was kind of bringing me down for a couple of days, just kind of sad that this is where our country is, and still the aftermath of where some of these things coming out. But like most things, it settles down a little bit, and just hopefully nothing else flares up. But anyway, we're still going to do the song of the week, and we're still going to have our trivia thing. But so just hang on there for the next thing.
The Mike Charleston Show.
All right, we got back from our trip, and we are all tired. But Elisabeth is here. There she is.
Yep. Hi.
And ready to do our game. I gave her a couple of ideas for games, and she was like, I already got it. So what do we have?
This is called Who Is It?
Who is it?
Who is it?
It's you. It's you.
So basically...
it's Darth Vader? Nope. She can't hear.
No. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
I will give you 5 clues.
5 clues. So this is like anybody's guess, but no one knows what anybody's guess is. So 5 hard clue, and then it progressively gets easier, and we've got to say who this is.
Okay.
Is this biblical carrier or just anybody?
Biblical.
Biblical character.
We collaborating, or it's...
You can. Okay. You're welcome to.
Oh, you're number 4, not number 3. Okay, there we go.
Okay, cool.
Okay, let's go.
The first clue is his name means fortunate.
Fortunate. It's not me. I'm not. I forget how that song. I'm no fortunate son. Fortunate.
Me means fortunate.
Yeah. Joel.
No.
No. Okay. No.
All right.
Joel doesn't make sense because El means God and Joe,
okay.
one of God. But anyway, okay, go ahead.
His story is found in Acts 20.
Acts 20. Okay, so New Testament. And his
Acts
name
20.
means what?
Fortunate.
Fortunate. Oh.
Wow.
Acts 20.
Philip.
Barnabas.
No. Nope.
Okay.
His name means encourager or whatever.
All right. He lived in Troas.
Well, that doesn't help. Troas.
Lydia's husband. She wasn't in Troas.
Yeah.
He was taking up dead.
Is this another one?
Yes.
Oh, wow. We didn't even get it.
Eutychus.
Is that what you're going with?
I'm going with Eutychus.
Yes.
Yeah, we got Eutychus. Yes. Let me get it right there.
Yep.
There we got it.
All right.
All right.
Okay, next one.
Fortunate.
Fortunate.
Next one is he was a Benjamite who hid among the stuff.
Among the stuff.
He
Okay.
hid a Benjamite that hid among the stuff.
Yes.
Well, what was that guy's name in AI who hid stuff?
Achan.
Achan.
No.
No. Okay.
He looked for his father's lost donkeys.
Oop, I would hit the wrong one. He looked for his father's lost donkey.
Yep.
Maybe like Samson. Did he do that?
Benjamite. Benjamite.
Yeah, he's a
Okay,
Benjamite.
Benjamite. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. We got
Samuel-
that one wrong. Okay.
Samuel anointed him with oil.
Wow. Are we? So what was the first clue again?
He was a Benjamite who hid among the stuff.
Oh, Saul.
Yeah, I'm going with Saul.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Saul.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Bing. It's a little delayed there, but we got it.
Yeah.
All right. Third question.
Third
is,
question.
He gave Israel peace for 40 years.
Well, my first guess is Hezekiah,
Sounds good.
but that was like 37 years of peace. But let's go with Hezekiah.
No, it's not Hezekiah.
Okay.
Nope. He tore down his father's altar to Baal.
Oh, well, I mean, Jehu did that, but was there 40 years of peace? Was it
Yeah.
Solomon? But Solomon didn't do his father because father was David.
Yeah, no.
I'm going to go with Jehu.
No. He is listed among the judges of Israel.
I thought he was a judge. I thought he said he was a king.
No, she never said that.
Oh, what am I thinking?
Maybe you were thinking of Saul.
Judges. That's a name. Trying to think of all the judges.
Yeah, all the judges I know is Deborah,
Othniel
Samson,
and Ehud, Shamgar, Deborah, Gideon.
Gideon. How about Gideon?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. We're getting good. Okay.
Bluetooth is slow. Okay.
All right. Number 4. He was not afraid to contradict 400 prophets at once.
Okay. Well, the prophets of Baal, that
was
was
450.
5, right? But was Obadiah? Did he not? He was not.
Sounds good.
Let's go with Obadiah.
No.
Come on, man. We got to get one on the first one. Okay.
He told a king that he would not return in peace.
Ooh.
He would not return in peace. Like, who would not return in peace?
The king would not return in peace.
Is this Nathan?
Yeah. I don't
Nathan.
No.
We get on this one right here. So, okay.
Okay. He saw the Lord on his throne with spirits around him.
Oh, my goodness.
know. Saw the Lord.
Yeah, is it Isaiah?
No.
Oh, wow.
No. He prophesied about a lying spirit in the mouth of prophets.
Yeah. Who was that? What was his name?
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I don't.
Keep going.
You know who I'm talking about, though.
I know who.
Yeah.
Oop, I gave myself a bing, but no. What? Yeah, keep-
No, you did not get the
Okay.
answer.
King Ahab hated him because he never prophesied good about him.
Elijah. That's Elijah.
If you say so.
Not Elijah.
Elisha.
It's not Elisha.
It's
What?
It's Micaiah.
Micaiah.
Oh, why didn't I think of him? Wow, that's a tough one.
That's a very difficult one.
Very close to Elijah, even, dealing with King Ahab. Anyway, okay,
Yeah,
we got one more.
Interesting. No one names their kid that. They
No.
should. Yeah.
Yep. All right. He was the son of Berechiah.
Berechiah?
Oh, I do know
Berechiah.
this one. Yeah.
Berechiah.
All right. I don't know.
No way.
Yeah.
He saw a man riding upon a red horse among the myrtle trees.
You think you got it?
Oh, wait a second.
Baby steps.
I thought you'd get it on this one.
I know.
Riding a red horse through the myrtle trees?
Wasn't that in Ezekiel?
I'm drawing a big blank. Like I said,
I'm
we
going to
just
say
had
Ezekiel.
No.
Okay.
Keep going.
He saw a flying roll.
A roll?
A flying roll?
Not
Yeah.
a flying scroll, because that's
No.
Ezekiel, right?
Nope. A
Yeah. I
roll.
know. All right, keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
He prophesied not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, say the
It's
Lord.
not by might.
Yes.
It's not by power. That's Zechariah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got that one. Okay. Those were tough. Some
Yep.
of those were tough. I don't think a lot of people out there listening would have gotten a lot of those either. So
Not on the first ones, but it
No.
does get easier, so that helps.
supposedly we didn't get the Micaiah one.
Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
not one I really know.
He's not a really popular.
No, he's not
common.
popular. Common, right?
Common.
He's probably popular, but yeah.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot. Well, that I guess. Do we usually do this one last, or do we do your song of the week last? I don't know.
I don't know.
We break up our segments. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening.
Music with Sarah.
What song do you like?
All right, babe. This is the song of the week, and you just told me the song, and this might be controversial. So we're
Might
gonna.
be.
So if you guys don't know, my favorite hymn. There's a couple that I really, really, really like, but I think my favorite. It's gone back and forth, but my favorite hymn is "When I Survey the Wondrous Cross." When I survey,
It's a great
it's a
hymn.
great song. Great lyrics, great song. It's slow. It's all this stuff, and and these modern guys are changing things. Well,
Okay, so
Phil
my
Wickham.
song of the week is called Wondrous Cross by Phil Wickham, not to be confused with When I Survey the Wondrous Cross.
Oh,
That is
come on.
an original hymn.
What are you talking about?
That is a great song, but this is a different
it's
song.
the same
called-
lyrics.
It's not all the same lyrics. So
Okay.
he does take the verses of When I Survey the Wondrous Cross, which to me, I think is awesome. And I think, well, what if somebody took something that I had written and then they took it and they wanted to do another version to reach even more people because it was so powerful? I would be flattered. I'd be like, wow, you thought that was good
Well, what
enough
if
to
he-
do a redo.
That's great. Yeah, a redo. Yeah. What if he would have just done the song with a little tweak? But this is totally different. It's a little bit more upbeat.
It's
upbeat.
a totally different song, and that's what I actually like better about it because it's it's not to be confused with the other
Too bad
song.
Chuck wasn't on because he had some things to say about
Yeah,
it.
well, anyway. So I know this is controversial, but hey, I heard this song just last week, I guess.
I'm not
the
going to
album
argue
came
with
out.
the lyrics are the same, and except for they add in a pre-chorus and a chorus, which is fine. The chorus, whatever. If it's a different song, it's great. But because it's my favorite song, my favorite hymn,
Yeah.
not my favorite song, but my favorite hymn, it's really hard at times.
I get it, and I'm sorry for you. Whatever.
You're sorry for me,
If
yes.
y'all can't handle that, but so the thing is, I think When I Survey the Wondrous Cross is an amazing hymn. I love it. It is very slow, and it's worth every moment that you sing all those words. And if you have a group and you're singing hymns, and somebody says this one, or I'll be the first, I'll say it because I love this hymn. I think it's awesome. However, in many church settings and times of worship or whatever, we often a hymn just doesn't quite fit the same or whatever. And so,
What you mean? What do you mean?
Okay. Anyway, I think sometimes it works for a hymn sing, but it might not always work. Every hymn doesn't
That
always work.
song would work anytime.
Okay. Well, this one would. I would agree.
No, my hymn.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. This song as a hymn can work
This
still.
is a famous one.
Okay. Anyway.
It's like redoing Amazing Grace.
Okay,
Oh wait,
but
people have done that.
People have done that. Okay, so what happens is he takes the verses word for word
Yes.
and sings it with a different melody. But then he goes to this chorus that says, "Hallelujah, what a savior, I've been delivered, my chains are gone. Thank you, Jesus, my king forever. I stand amazed when I survey the wondrous cross." And I mean, it's so catchy and so awesome. I'm like, I've listened to it like many times, at least 30 or 40 times in the last week, and it just gets better and better and better. And I wake up singing it, and I just think it's awesome.
That's great. I mean, look, it's fine. Like when you play it, I can tolerate it, but it's just not going to be one of my favorites because I'm like, it's. For one, he's put like a lot of his lyrics from all of his song, jam-packed them into the chorus.
Yeah, why not? If you've got some great lyrics, why not put them together? Like,
okay,
I think
whatever.
that's cool.
But it's like the hymn is the hymn. And the one thing I do appreciate is like, okay, you have a whole generation that don't really know a lot of hymns.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, what's that one song where, now I'm listening to this in my ear right now, so it's really hard, but drawn from Emmanuel's veins, sinners plunge beneath the flood.
There's a fountain filled with blood.
Yes, that's a great
hymn.
Great hymn. One of my favorites.
Love it.
And we don't really hear it anymore. So
Yeah.
if someone redid it, but what if they did it to like jazzed up, and from Emmanuel's veins, and I just feel like it depends on how they do it. And this is it's fine. Is it like tasteful? Sure. It's tough.
I find the lyrics.
I gotta pretend it's a whole different song.
And to me, it is a whole different song. And like I listen to Spotify, and I will shuffle through. I have different playlists, mostly just like a big, huge worship playlist that's a compilation of several people. We all add songs to it, so it's got hundreds and hundreds of songs. And I don't really find, oftentimes with hymns, I don't find good versions. It'll be like a mass choir version. And I'm fine if I'm at an event, we have this huge choir singing a hymn, like I think that's awesome. But often, like at least what's available on Spotify, some hymns, it's like you just can't find just a normal good version. So anyway, but so when I found this, I was like, wow, like this is just powerful. It's awesome.
Look, the lyrics are powerful. I will give you that. The lyrics are awesome. I just really like the sound of the other one, but that doesn't mean maybe this is for you. And that's the thing about songs, you know, and maybe this doesn't do much for you. Maybe the hymn didn't do it, and you know, I can appreciate that. But there's not a song you don't like. So if it's Christian,
that is not true. There are plenty of songs I don't care for as much. But the thing is, like, there are a lot of hymns that I think are slowly kind of going by the wayside that people don't even recognize, like this song.
Yep,
I don't know how many people wouldn't even know, oh, that was a hymn.
Right.
And which I'm like, wow, it brings me back. Like, let's sing both. Like, let's sing the hymn and then let's sing this, like back to back. Like,
yes, but
I would want to do that.
Yes.
Well, whatever. So I feel like, wow, don't lose some of the great hymns just because there's no longer really people playing them.
I get that, and like I said with drawn from Emmanuel's veins,
there's a fountain filled with blood.
I mean, that is, I don't know if anybody does that one, and it's a great. If you just read the lyrics, it's a great song. Great song. But you know, the songs have words and music, and I don't know. To me, to survey the wondrous cross, and I know there's already two versions out there. You know, it's not on you, it's on me. There's already two versions. Which version are you going to sing? And now there's three, and I don't know. It's fine. But you know, you're going to have to go check it out and see if you agree with Sarah or if you agree with me.
Go for it.
It's fine. You know, look. It's just I have to admit this is tough because this is like my favorite hymn.
Yeah.
And so anyway, but yeah, go check it out. It is Phil Wickham, which is Sarah's favorite. So anyways, it's maybe a little bias there on her part too. But the new album came out, and this house has been nothing but that album. So we should have done her album of the week today. So anyway, go check it out. It's Phil Wickham's Wondrous Cross, and the chorus is fine too. You know, like that's a whole different song to me. So I'm like, that's fine. So all right, go check it out.
The Mike Charleston Show is brought to you by Fellowship of Believers. For more information, go to our website at fellowshipofbelievers.org. Thank you for listening. We hope we have encouraged you to stand strong in the Lord Jesus and grow in Him.